So, emergency video that I felt like needed to be made because, yeah, my platform that I have to speak on isn't that big. But I do feel like being embedded in gaming for so long, this is something that I would like to speak on, give my opinion on, because I'm not saying that I can run a business. I'm not saying that I can make high level business decisions, but all of that stuff is done in hopes to please and satiate the gamer, is it not? Like, we are the target audience for these companies that make these decisions. And I just seeing this happen so instantly with no kind of warning, no heads up, anything, just really made me feel some type of way. So I'm pretty sure, as everybody knows, Microsoft Xbox, emphasis on the Microsoft part, and I'll get to that later. They've shut down Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks. So Arcane Austin worked on Dishonored, and they exclusively did Redfall, as many people know, which might cause some to be like, "Oh, well, it's good that they got shut down. They made a bad game, blah blah blah." But there's plenty of companies that we praise now that have made one or two bad games. Like BioWare made Anthem, but everybody's looking forward to the next Mass Effect and the next Dragon Age. So why couldn't Arcane Austin have a comeback story? Because they've proven in the past that they can make good stuff. Redfall was a cash grab during the time when that's what a lot of companies were doing. They followed suit, and it failed. Okay, cool. Dishonored is a classic. So we can't just look over their past works and say that they should be shut down. Switching gears, Tango made The Evil Within 1 and 2 with the godfather of horror video games, Shinji Mikami. And then they turned around and dropped a banger action game. Hi-Fi Rush was arguably one of the best games to come out last year. Like, don't get me wrong, 2023 was crazy with like really high quality, fun, creative releases, but Hi-Fi Rush was among that group. Man, I hate having neighbors. But after all of the reports that came out about Hi-Fi Rush hit all the metrics and it's doing well and it's performing well, and they just released it on PlayStation, rumors of it being released on Switch. What happened? Xbox is talking about how it wants to have a foothold in Japan. This was it. This was like your starter. This was the beginning of that, and now it doesn't exist anymore. These decisions were made so quick. Nobody had any idea it was on a Tuesday. Once again, I'm not privy to the business world, but to my knowledge, in the past, nothing this significant happens on a random day. And it's usually some kind of forewarning that can be like deciphered before the studios are closed. So with that being said, there was no update on whatever projects they had. Like, I'm not saying I would have been okay, but if these studios had closed down and then there was like a follow up statement or address saying, "Oh yeah, these studios no longer exist. They're being folded into X studio or Y studio and their projects along with it," I would have been more okay than not. But now there's no guarantee of even that. So there's just a lot of fog right now around this entire situation. But this is just like compounded. I think that was the primer, plus the articles that have just dropped today and some dropped yesterday. And then just looking at the state of Xbox right now is pretty bad. There was a talk about a potential price hike for Game Pass again, amidst there being more reports that it's not growing. Game Pass isn't growing. This business model that Microsoft Xbox banked so much hope and so many decisions on is not growing. So if this was the core of your identity as a company, what do you do now? Is there might be a real reason for them to go full third party, and which wouldn't be crazy given their Grounded is doing well, Sea of Thieves is doing well, and Pentiment are all doing well on other platforms. So this might be more incentive for them to just be a full on third party developer. There's more talk of more cuts across the companies that they have, the subsidiaries that they have. And that's it's just never good. Like, you bought all of these companies in talks of giving them security and freedom to do what they want, but here we have a case of two studios, their most recent projects polarizing, completely polarizing. Redfall did terrible and Hi-Fi Rush did great, but they both got shut down. So what message do you give the rest of your subsidiaries that they can experiment and stay afloat? There was all this debate about how big of a company, how sustainable this company is around the Activision acquisition. But since then, and don't get me wrong, this speaks to the overall state of the industry in that it's not growing. It's shrinking, or it's just not growing. But when you're Microsoft, does that really matter? And once again, like I said earlier, I'm not in on all of the business decisions and how things work. I don't know how to run Microsoft, but I'm looking at it from the perspective of a gamer, which is the only way that I know how. Sony is a company that has a bunch of other business ventures. Microsoft is a company that has a bunch of other business ventures. Nintendo makes consoles and games. And I'm not just like flat out praising Nintendo. I'm just saying I think it shows the decisions that they make and how they benefit their player base and how they try to retain the people that have bought into their ecosystems and whatnot. They have some slimy, grimy practices. Like I said in one of my earlier videos, they just repackage a lot of games and sell them to us at full price, which I'm not denying. But I don't think I've ever heard of anything on this level or Sony's level. I forgot which company they just shut down a few months ago, but was it Deviation Games? They don't exist anymore. I can't remember ever hearing about a Nintendo company being shut down. Back to Xbox, they're debating on putting Call of Duty in Game Pass. Wasn't there a sentiment that everything that you owned would be in Game Pass? Isn't that like a determining factor in trying to get people over to your service? Or have you finally realized that that's not a viable way to have first party games? Shinji Mikami spoke about how Tango was on the verge of getting shut down when it was just under ZeniMax and Microsoft wasn't in the picture. So he stayed around to help them stay afloat, to give them a reason not to shut that company down. He left and the company was shut down. It just proved what he was saying. But then you went and put the game that this company that was quote unquote on the ropes, their baby, their project that ended up doing well, you put it in Game Pass. No, for almost nobody to buy it, almost everybody experienced it on Game Pass. Why? I am not the biggest fan of Game Pass. I don't think it makes sense to me. I like to own my games. That's just me specifically. But even from a business standpoint, if you want to make profit, why would you put why would you put your best products in a subscription service? They won't make as much money as they would a la carte. Then another report came out saying that Perfect Dark is in development hell. When did they show this game? Matter of fact, I'm looking that up right now. Mm, let's see. Nothing, nothing. I cannot find it. Let's try a Perfect Dark reboot. Hmm. 2020. 2020. It's been 4 years. No gameplay, no development diary, no insider report, no gameplay demo, nothing. Just a teaser and radio silence. With every few months, it'll be some, oh yeah, we're working on it. There's been multiple project reboots, multiple restructurings, all of this other stuff that I've heard about Perfect Dark, but no games being shown. Xbox, what is going on? On top of that, they're popular for the wrong thing right now. Xbox is on the brink of releasing one of their potentially flagship titles in Hellblade 2, and there's like little to no marketing, and it's going to be in Game Pass. So what is there just going to be another year go by and then Ninja Theory is shut down too? I don't agree with this business model. I don't know how to run a business, but I'm saying if this business model is the thing that's resulting in all of these restructurings, closings, all of these absorptions, all of this stuff going on within the Xbox umbrella, why continue to do it? And that leads me to my final point. I don't think Team Xbox, meaning the people who are behind the console and the console experience and the console users, I don't think that they're running the show anymore. And I know that this isn't a fresh theory. I know that there's plenty of other people who believe the same thing, but I genuinely don't think that Xbox is in charge of their baby anymore. I think it's Microsoft proper. And another reason I think that is just there's been so much more. I think this is the most that the Microsoft CEO has ever been involved with Xbox. Rightfully so, because there's potential there, but you can't get a profit runner to make fan. I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. You can't get somebody whose sole purpose is to raise profit. They won't make decisions that's for the gamer, for the consumer, for the fan base, because their whole job is to make money. It's not to make people happy, which is understandable because that's their job. But that's what you saw with Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan was that for Sony, and he made some crazy decisions, got rid of some crazy stuff, and even in his way out, when they asked him what his favorite game was, he like could barely give his list of top, what was it, top 5 games, top 10 games, whatever it was. We seeing the same thing with Square Enix. They got a new president, and he's making better decisions for the company overall, trying to get good games out. I don't agree with all of his decisions, and that could be another video, but yeah, man, it's sad. I really want an Xbox to win, not in reference to the console war, but I just wanted them to be a sustainable and functioning aspect of the gaming landscape. But Who knows? I think they probably got one more console in them. But by that point, I don't even know if they'll be able to be justified as having a console. So yeah, that's really it, man. I hope something happens and turns them around. I won't make any grand decrees like, oh, I'm selling every Xbox or I'm getting rid of every single Xbox game I own. I'm not doing that. But it just, I I don't know what the next Xbox game will be. I'm looking into upgrading my PC and maybe just moving forward with that. I don't know. I don't know. Still undecided. And like I said earlier in the video, who knows what the rest of this week could bring? Maybe some kind of sit down video thing like they did in January to address the third party rumors. Maybe that'll happen. But yeah, that's all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.